Hello and welcome to the Guitar School Network. My name is Marc Seal and this is the Ultimate Guitar Show. All right, as promised on today's show, it's all about improvising. During All About Technique, I'm going to give you 5 licks, 1 lick out of each of the 5 scale patterns that we learned on the last show. So if you haven't caught the last show, you better do that because you have to have all 5 of your diatonic scale patterns memorized. So All About Technique, I'm going to give you 1 lick from each scale pattern and then give you some ideas on how to approach improvising. Also ideas on how to alter those licks that I gave you. In the download section, somewhere on one of these icons to the left of me, there's a place to download MP3s and slides for today's show. Sound advice, I'm going to do sound advice right this second. Sound advice is basically pick your favorite lead sound and use it for the whole show today. So anytime you're doing improvising this week, use your favorite lead sound. In past shows during sound advice, I've talked about different effects and different sounds. Today I just want to spend time on improvising. I don't want to get too much in the sound. So it's up to you guys. Pick your own sound and start creating your own sound for your own leads. So basically that's it. Sound advice done. Sweet. Let's see what else. The mailbag. Somebody wrote in and asked about the riff Like a Stone by Audioslave. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration on what effect he uses and how that riff goes. And then on the riff the show, I've come up with a nice little rhythm part for you to work on. It's in the key of A minor / C major, just like our scale patterns we learned. So you can play this rhythm and then you can go back and solo over it. And the other thing I did that's pretty cool is we have a backing track. We have an MP3 of the rhythm that I'm going to teach you guys. So if you just want to throw that on your computer or even burn it to a CD or whatever, download it, burn it, whatever you want to do with it, it's yours. And then sit back, turn it on, and jam to it. Use all 5 of your scale patterns and solo over it, and also try the licks that I give you on the All About Technique section as well. So, all about improvising. In a nutshell, I'm going to teach you how to do the whole thing today, and then it's up to you to work your tails off next week and start getting this stuff under your belt. So, let's move on. All about technique. First, I'm just going to tell you guys some ideas about improvising, and then I'm going to give you 5 licks. Now again, the 5 licks that I'm giving you are out of each of the 5 scale patterns that we learned on the last show. If you want to download those, again, look to the left. You'll see an icon there that says Tablet Show or Downloads for today's show, and you'll want to download each one of these licks that we're going to be doing so that you'll be able to see them as well as watch me play them. And there's also MP3s so you can hear what the licks should sound like. First off, let's talk about an approach to improvising. Now, whenever I teach improvising to my students, what I typically find is that they'll get their scale patterns and then they'll just run up and down their scale patterns a lot. And they'll just, they'll do little sections where they kind of go up and back. And that's not really soloing. Soloing is actually creating a melody. It's using your instrument as your voice, if you will. You're trying to make your guitar sing. Okay, so a couple of approaches to look at. I always have all these different analogies of soloing. But a couple that I really like. The first off is look at it as a painter. You're creating a picture, right? And the different colors you have are a variety of things. They're the sound that you choose, the different techniques that you use. So say, for example, if you only use hammer-ons and pull-offs, well, that might be blue, right? So if that's all you do in your technique, then all you have is blue to work with, right? But if you know slides and you know bends and you know tapping, rakes, each one of those is like adding another color to your solo. So when you go to create your painting, which is the solo, you'll have a lot more colors to work from. Okay, another thing is to look at the notes as different colors. So our techniques are like our primary colors, but the notes that we select would be all the secondary colors. So depending upon how you combine the techniques with the notes is really what's going to create whatever your ultimate colors that you're using at any given time. Things like your picking and your right hand technique, if you're tapping or doing finger picking, those are almost like brush strokes, if you will, if you're doing hybrid picking and things like that. So the ultimate goal with your solo is to create a beautiful painting, and beautiful, whatever beautiful is to you. If you're a metal soloist, beautiful might be some gnarly dark painting. Go for it. Still make a beautiful painting to yourself. That's the point. And the way to make the painting, obviously, you want to have as many colors as possible in your palette to choose from. You may not always use every color. That's critical to know as well. You don't have to throw in every single color. That wouldn't really be pretty either. It'd just be a big blob of brown. So what you want to do, or black or whatever, I don't know what happens when you mix all the colors. But anyhow, the point is that you want to try to create this really beautiful painting using the different colors on your palette. Okay, and we talked about what your palette is. Another analogy I like to use is if you look at a movie, if you say you're watching a good action flick, right? You want your solo to be like a good action movie. It starts out, it gets you into the movie right away. So you want to start off with something that gets you going right away, but it's not over the edge. And throughout the course of the movie, it continually builds to like a climax, right? To the ultimate scene. Well, same thing with your guitar solo. You want to draw people in from the first part of it, but you don't want to be going off and doing all this crazy stuff, because that's going to be like action through the whole flick. You got to have the melodic parts of your solo and continually build it. Maybe start out slow and just with a lot of feel, and continue to keep the feeling through it, but maybe build it up till ultimately you hit that ultra climatic scene of your solo, which in most cases is where the solo is going to end and you're going to go back into your vocals or whatever. Let's see, another analogy that I like to use is if you're a cook and you want to chef it up, right? Well, the more different spices you have to add to your food, the more different flavors you can create to it. If you're doing salt, pepper, those are your two spices, great, you've got salt and pepper. But what if you have, garlic powder and onion powder and chili powder and all these other, if you've got fresh garlic and all the different things that you can add, different herbs, if you've got basil and whatnot. So anyhow, the point is that we want to have as many ingredients as possible at our disposal. And again, we don't always use all of those ingredients, but we do want to pick and mix and match the ones that will make it the ultimate meal. So I gave you a few different analogies of how you want to approach the solo. Okay, we want to build it from, draw us right in, but then build it up so it's climatic. We want to have as many different different colors on our palette to choose from, or different spices to choose from. But again, we don't always use all of them, but we do use some of them, right? And we want to use them sparingly so that it ultimately tastes good, looks good, and builds up to this beautiful solo. So that's the approach to your solo. So it's not just running scales and playing notes in key. That's the biggest problem people make. So what I did was, I told you I was going to give you 5 licks. So you'll want to download those. And what we'll do with the licks is, I'm going to show you how to play them, but then I want you to think about embellishing the licks. And I want to show you how I came up with the licks. Okay, let's take a look at lick number 1. Basically, I'm in pattern 1. And what I did was I just started here on the 5th fret, and I kind of walked up like a D minor triad, for those of you theory guys who know what's going on. But really I'm just going 5 to 3 on the 4th string to 2 on the 3rd string. Now all those notes, if you look at the scale, all those notes are in key. That note's in, it's the 2nd scale degree. That note's the 4th scale degree, and that's the 6th scale degree in the key of C major, or out of pattern 1. So what we have is this. Then I went to the 4th fret, do a half bend, pull off to 2, then 4 to 2 again. Now this is tabbed out for you, but here's what it sounds like.